And hello, drag racing fan, live from Lafayette, Indiana. Had a double shop day here in Indiana at McKin Corp, and then also swung by Foley Lewis Racing for some content here in the drag racing hub as it is around Brownsburg and Indianapolis. Indianapolis, what a racing capital it is for all of motorsports, honestly, and a great heritage right here in the state of Indiana for racing of all types. And anyone that loves racing, well, you've got to have on the list a visit to the state of Indiana. Whether you like dirt track racing, drag racing, open wheel racing, I highly recommend the Indianapolis 500 and certainly the U.S. Nationals. Indiana, the motorsports fan can find a home for sure. Tonight, here on Between the Slicks, episode 155, we have scheduled Mr. Tim Hall. Looking forward to seeing him when he pops in and talk with the 2023 C-Gas champion for the Southeast Gassers Association. He is one of the first back-to-back champions in the Southeast Gassers Association. Another gentleman in another class, division, if you will, was able to also earn that distinction. It took over a decade in Southeast Gasser Association competition for there to be back-to-back champions. Certainly there have been multiple champions, but no one had gone back-to-back. Tim Hall, one of the first to do it, and did it in C-Gas. Looking forward to chatting with him later on and getting his story of the 2023 season in Southeast Gassers Association competition. We'll hear from him as a multi-time and back-to-back champion, his thoughts on the transition of the Southeast Gassers Association and it moving into a new phase and a new era of it as a competitive drag racing series. I'm sure he is going to have a positive take on it and also a unique take on it with his perspective that Tim is going to have and that he does have, because he's not just a driver. He has built his own race car. He builds his own motors. He is quite the savvy individual and able to go out there and compete at an extremely high level. And he's not just picking up the phone and buying a motor. Rather, he has expressed even here on this show that he'll do eBay shops for high quality parts for a good price, and he puts it all together himself and goes out and competes at an extremely high level, the highest, and wins championships by his savviness, his know-how, driving ability, and getting it done out there in the Southeast Gassers Association competition. Great things happening in Sega. Looking forward to chatting with him later on in the evening. There is plenty of news out there in the drag racing world. It is really shaking up, and it has not slowed down news-wise. We went into PRI, the Performance Racing Industry Trade Show, in December of 2023, and we all expect in December that there are going to be big announcements at the PRI show, and that was certainly the case, that at PRI there were big announcements across the board in drag racing, but the big announcements have not stopped in drag racing. And in particular, as we love to focus on alcohol with Monday Morning Racer platform and even here at Between the Slicks, and also Heritage Series Beyond, there have been plenty, announcements in the drag racing world, from the nitro ranks to alcohol and beyond. It is fascinating what is happening in the drag racing world at this point and at this time. Would love to hear in the comment section what you find most interesting. And frankly, some of the most interesting things may be, well, what we're waiting on to hear about and to see. We still haven't got clarity on the last remaining TBD, to be determined date for the NHRA national event schedule. We're still waiting for that. Rumors are flying. I think we all really expect that to be Flying H, but Flying H drag strip, with the schedules that they've released, that national event isn't on there. They do have a regional and divisional, if I remember correctly, and they also have put out a further, more detailed drag racing event schedule for that facility. But the thoughts on that to be determined date, when you look at the national event schedule on NHRA, it doesn't line up and coincide with Flying H. I really wonder what we are going to get. And we have seen tracks added, such as Virginia Motorsports Park, coming back that really weren't in discussion, though Virginia Motorsports Park certainly deserves a date. And whatever was worked out between ownership and the NHRA to make it possible, I'm glad that it is the case. But we're still waiting for that news to come across on what the full NHRA schedule looks like for 2024. Speaking of the full NHRA schedule, more schedules were announced, such as the NHRA Heritage Series, the Legends Nitro Funny Car Series. We'll be taking a look briefly at those in just a few moments. But thank you for watching. Hit the like button, hit the share button, and follow along. We're going to take a quick break. And after the break, if Tim has popped in the green room, we'll get Tim on. If not, we'll dive into some drag racing news and have a conversation with you over this great sport, the sport of drag racing. I am certainly thankful to be working with McKin Corp, and we'll take a break and get a word from, well, me on McKin Corp from the PRI show on all that they do. It is outstanding when you take it in, everything that McKin Corp does in the world of drag racing and beyond.
At McKin Corp, we do far more than just fuel funny cars and top fuel dragsters in the world of drag racing. For example, Jerry Bickle race cars, we provide them with the tanks on those race cars, and with this beautiful Larry's Jeffers race car machine, we in fact manufacture at McKin Corp the button latch on the door car, and you can find many door cars with that latch. It's a private label that we create for Larry's and others, but you have McKin Corp producing parts and pieces from tanks to button latches for the door car scene. Let's check out some more McKin Corp assets and products here at PRI. Ron Capps debuted this beautiful funny car at the U.S. Nationals in 2023, bringing the old school with the new school Dom the Snake Prudhomme tribute car, and he was able to go on and win the U.S. Nationals in 2023 with this great throwback scheme. But McKin Corp, though did not build this chassis in particular, did build the fuel tanks that Ron Capps runs in his funny car. One of the best fuel tanks in the industry, and beyond in the fuel ranks, you will find our fuel tanks in many other rides, such as even Antron Brown's Top Fueler. We're not done with what McKin Corp does in drag racing. Let's continue at PRI. It's always cool to see Dale Worsham hit the track, and he hit the track at In-N-Out Burger Pomona Drag Strip in this beautiful CP Carrillo funny car. This very body was mounted at McKin Corp headquarters in Lafayette, Indiana. In fact, we have a dedicated jig at our facility to mounting funny car bodies. So if it's a new body, old body, we can help you in mounting your funny car body to get funny car racing. Beyond Dale Worsham and Alexis Joria, Tim Wilkerson, Chad Green, we build their chassis, we mount their bodies, we assist them in their funny car operations and beyond, even into the alcohol ranks. As we like to say at McKin Corp, they drive the drags. If you need anything for your drag racing operation and beyond, contact McKin Corp.
And we've got him live, the champ of Seagas, Mr. Tim Hall, driving the Scalded Dog. And Tim, after some technical difficulties, we got you on. You're live. You're here. How's it going tonight, man? Uh-oh. We have an audio issue. Oh, boy. It happens. It happens. Tim, all right. What I'm going to do, I'm going to kick you out of the show, but come back. And now knowing everything you got, because you might have been on the call with me and come in and it might have just messed the audio up. So I'm going to kick you, come back, and we'll talk with you. It's kind of a fun part right here. Sometimes you get to kick a guest. You hope they come back. And Tim certainly will. Look forward to chatting with him. I've chatted with him several times on the show after event wins and his championship in 2022. Definitely want to get his take on his championship in 2023, how different it was. I'm sure the competition stepped up to run down the Scalded Dog and try to take away that championship defense from him. It's going to be an interesting conversation. I was not able to attend a single Southeast Gassers Association race in 2023, which was a bit frustrating, though I was doing so many cool things in the world of drag racing. I wish that I could be at multiple races on multiple, the same weekend, but just not able to do that. Maybe one day have a crew, be able to send them there, here, and, well, to all the races and catch all the news and have mega shows. It'd be an interesting time for sure right here on Between the Slicks. As we wait for Tim to roll back in and chat with him, the Southeast Gas Association has moved into a new phase of its life. Leslie Horn, the driver of the 55 Chevrolet Chick Magnet A gas drag racing machine, he purchased the Southeast Gassers Association and is going to be the individual taking it forward along with a great team into the future for what Sega has as one of the best movements in drag racing out there. And I would dare say of the nostalgia ranks, the best movement. So you have Leslie Horn purchasing it. We talked with Leslie Horn not that long ago, right here on Between the Slicks. And you can go back and watch that on the Monday Morning Racer YouTube channel. He broke down many things on what to expect and where he intends to see the Southeast Gassers Association platform go. And what is encouraging is what makes the Southeast Gassers Association great, keeping that intact, and many things around it trying to bolster and improve, such as TV deals, more media coverage, even doubling down on getting back to period correctness. Not that it had strayed far, but the nature of the beast and its advancement and its growth, you might have seen some things slip to some degree. I think some would admit that. And there is an emphasis on let's get back. Let's make sure that we're going to be period correct, period correct on gauges and things of that nature that Leslie Horn and others have announced. You can find some more information. Randy, he was on Shift Points. You can catch that on YouTube, that podcast. They talked a little bit more in depth, and in particular with that interview, Randy certainly filled in a lot of the blanks since the interview that I had with Leslie right here on Between the Slicks. So you can check that out on YouTube, Shift Points, and be sure to give them a subscribe and a follow and a listen, as they are oftentimes interviewing the personalities of the Southeast Gasser Association and beyond in the world of drag racing. So we're still waiting for Tim to roll back in, and we'll chat with him. We've had him on the show before, and it has went well, but some technical difficulties tonight. Matter of fact, I took the long commercial. That's my long commercial, the McKinney commercial, and gave Tim a phone call. Hey, Tim, what's up? And he's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, and we got him on, but no audio. So Tim's probably behind the scenes thrashing, trying to figure it out right now. Somebody in the Hall household help that man, and we'll have him on before long and chat with him. I'm going to take another quick break, and hopefully by then maybe we've got Tim in and we can chat with him. If not, we'll dive right into drag racing news until we've got Tim Hall, the 2023 Seagas champion of the Southeast Gassers Association in 2023. This word from my good friend Eric over at Destroyer 1320. If you've got a modern muscle car, you want to protect it, the best way to protect it is with his TDS, the Theft Deterrent System.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thieves' hope.
I think we got you, Tim. I can hear some rumbling over there.
I hope so. This thing's giving me a fit tonight.
All right. There we go. There we go. We got you. Good. Might be a little bit of delay between you and me. We'll work through that. No problem. Well, champ, how's it feel to be champ once again?
Feels good. That's a culmination of a lot of hard work, a lot of different people's effort. You know, my family and my sponsors and everybody, we couldn't do it without, you know. So it is fun to win and to be a champion. And you called it last year. You said you thought I'd be the first one to repeat. And I was worried you might have jinxed me a little bit, but it turned out not so much. So
just, you know, the year that you had last year, it was so dominating, and nothing against the competition, but just didn't quite see anyone that quite had anything for that scalded dog, and you in your driving ability behind that wheel. I'm not surprised that you went on to defend your title and to become one of the first back-to-back champions in Southeast Gassers Association competition. Fill us in, though. Who else also did that this year along with you for that distinction in the history of the Southeast Gassers Association?
Rick Varner, he backed his Superstock Championship up as well. He went back-to-back also. So Mama says the only thing left now is to try to do three-peat. So nobody hadn't done that yet. So I wanted to go to AGAS, but that's just not going to work out this year. So I guess we'll come back in CGAS and try to do it again.
All right. Hey, you got it right here live. Scalded Dog is back in CGAS going for a three-peat, a trifecta, a third straight championship. Yeah, we definitely want to see you in AGAS before long. I know you've got some pretty cool plans for AGAS if you can get it all worked out and get it up there, and definitely want to see that. This year in particular, though, you've got the championship win in 2022. You've got the championship win in 2023. Compare and contrast those two seasons, though. What were the challenges? What was easier between the two? Why did you get the championship in 2022, and why did you get the championship in 2023? Break them down for us.
Well, I found I stumbled upon a combination that was good, and we were fast. You know, we had a little bit on the field, and that's why we were able to win so many races last year. and it took a lot of that pressure away that, that we had this year, because I guess I went into not mess it up mode and just tried to play the points game this year, and, didn't really try to do a lot to make the car faster because I was scared I'd mess up and lose and, hurt myself in the points. And while I was doing that, everybody else got faster. And so it got a lot harder to win this year in 23 because I didn't have the ET advantage anymore. So there were several cars that could run right with me or even faster. As a matter of fact, the record took away from me a couple of times during the year. I was able to get it back in Mississippi, and then it got took right back by Josh Pruitt at Shadyside. So, we're not, the car's not dominant anymore at this time, but I'm working on some things on the off season to try to, to get back to where I'm the car, the fastest car, the car to beat, whatever you want to say. But it was more nerve wracking this year because it didn't, until, late in the year, it was really up for grabs for about 4 or 5 different people. So.
Well, we've got some folks chiming in. The Not Bland Show, Mr. Dugenet Bland, he certainly doesn't have a bland show. He says it'd be cool if he, referring to you, were able to win that 3rd straight. That certainly would be a cool thing to see and history making within the Southeast Gassers Association. And Mr. Chick Magnet says, come on to a gas. He also said something about who let the dog out. That Chick Magnet dude always running his mouth. I don't know how y'all going to handle it this year with him in ownership and him moving things forward. No, I think the Southeast Gassers Association has a bright future with Leslie owning it and what is ahead of us. But it is certainly going to be an interesting ride. Might be some more trash talking out there for all I know. Why not? Why not? Tim, you mentioned the competition. You mentioned your combination. Going through 2023, when did you feel the bullseye on your back? Was it from the first race, or did it take a little while? Every champion talks about that pressure that they could tell everybody wanted to beat them. It doesn't matter if it was even qualifying. People want to get a better reaction time. They want to go quicker ET. They want to turn a wind light on over that individual at all times. When did you feel that? When did that bullseye really start getting hot on your back?
I guess it was probably not right at first. We had good luck at the first couple of races and won them. But in the 3rd and 4th races, I had a little struggle, and that's when the pressure really started mounting. And I knew that if I was going to try to repeat, I had to step my game up. I had to, do everything I could and just give it my all out. And so we were able to win a couple of races toward the later part of the season that got us back to where we were a little comfortable, but still not confident. Until we got to Mississippi, we really didn't. It could have went anyway, all different ways. But the pressure was there after about the 3rd race or so. I think Todd Oden took the record from me at the 3rd or 4th race. I can't remember, and won a couple right in a row. And if he hadn't had such a bad start to the year with some breakage and stuff, he'd have really gave me it'd been tough, So.
Tim, you mentioned this offseason working on your combination. Let's talk about your combination, and then we'll see what we can pry from you about what you're working on for 2024. Your car, it is one unique piece out there among so many beautiful and great pieces in Southeast Gassers Association competition. I'm going to bring up your hot rod. You break it down for us, this ride that you are riding to, multiple championships at this point.
It's a 67 Rambler American. I wanted something different that everybody else didn't already have. And
unlike a Nova? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I didn't. I like Novas. I actually looked for post Nova, 66 or 7 post Nova, but they were so high, even in, really bad shape. They were still very expensive. And the Rambler was a affordable body, and it was different. And I'm not a big budget team, so we have to kind of, cut where we can. And so saving $3,000 or $4,000 on the body to start with was a good start, where I could use that money in the engine. But it runs a small block Chevy. It's a 314 cubic inch small block Chevy, G-force transmission, and a 9-inch Ford. Just pretty standard stuff that we all run. I built it all. The only thing I didn't do was paint it. I'm not that good of a painter. I can paint, but I can't do nothing like's on that car. Barry Whitworth did that. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a good thing for our family. We all, me and Mom, Dad, and my brother Tony, we all go off together to the races, and my wife comes when she can. And it's just been a really good thing to be able to spend that amount of time and do something I love with my family, and they love it too. So it's been a win-win. So.
A win-win on so many fronts, from winning events, winning championships, and winning in family time and enjoying life out there at the drag strip. Nothing wrong with that, certainly. Tim, I know that we've talked about in the past, with you being on the show and your combination, that your budget doesn't avail you to call a Gene Fulton or some other engine builder like a Kazi and get a power plant from some big name. You do most of your stuff in-house and are able to go out there and win championships, even hunting for some deals on eBay. So what have you been hunting, and what have you hunted for a combination change in 2024 to get you back out there on the top and be the dominant dog?
Well, I've got some different gear ratio stuff I'm going to try, and I wasn't really hunting this. I was at Mississippi, and a guy come walking up to me, and I didn't know who he was, and he got talking to me about my carburetors, and he asked me who built my carburetors, and I told him I was a carburetor assembler. I don't know a whole lot about modifying them and, that sort of thing. And he said, well, he was a carburetor guy, and he had on a shirt, and it had Gary on it. And I got looking in the back, it said Williams Carburation. So he was impressed that we had just made a run that took the record back. And that was with my homemade carburetors. And he said, I believe I could build you a set. So he did. And he built me a set and sent them to me. And I hadn't got to run them yet, but they're a whole lot prettier than mine for sure. I don't know if they'll run better or not, but I hope they will. And so, eBay, I'm always looking for like shaft rocker arms and stuff like that. They're really high price when they're brand new, but you can get them for a half or a little less, intake manifolds, stuff like that, you can find that you can still use, still work. Heads, I found the last set of heads I just got done. I got offline, so and sent them off and had them ported. But yeah, I'll buy anything, gears for the rear end, or anything I need if I can get it secondhand. I do, just so we can afford to do what we love to do.
I like that. There's something about someone doing it themselves and getting deals and putting it all together and going out there and just waxing everybody. It is certainly cool to see that you're doing that. Sega Quick Draw 64 Falcon chimes in, says Scalded Dog and the whole family are a great bunch to race against and hang out with. I know that from experience. You all certainly are. Waterbug 85 chimes in with a question for you, Tim, and I think this will be a great springboard for you to talk about Southeast Gassers Association racing and period correct and what's allowed and what's not allowed, especially for C-Gas in particular. He asks, is that a tube chassis or a stock Rambler frame with that combination, and how does it fit within the rules of Sega?
It is a stock Rambler floor. It's a unibody car, but a Nova has two subframes you have to connect in the middle, but the Rambler actually has a one-piece subframe that goes stamped out steel subframe that goes front to back. So we just built the cage and tied into that stock floorboard and the stock reinforcements that's in the body. And we did have to add a rear cross member for the ladder bars to hook to, but everything else is the original Rambler frame and floorboards and under hood, all the inner fender wells and all that stuff's there except for what I had to cut out for the headers to go through. And that's well within the rules. You can do either way. You can run the stock stuff, or you can build a tube frame car with aluminum interior and all that if you want. But I didn't on this car. But of course, the A-gas car, if I ever get one done, will be a full tube frame car with aluminum interior and a little more modern style of race car with a lot more bar and all for the extra speed and stuff. So,
all right, getting it done. Can you clue us in on anything that you had intended for A-gas? Would you like to do that? You don't have to drop everything, but what were you thinking? Where were you going A-gas wise if you were going to be able to do it in 2024?
Well, there's something I'm talking to a family about that you know about, and most all of the family has come on board with building a Willis and possibly having the Moonlighter on it in tribute to Gene Cromer and your dad and what they did back in the day. It just hadn't all worked out yet to be able to do it. I don't know that it will. I mean, it's just a lot more to that. There's a lot of legacy there and a lot of really, really big shoes to fill. I was real close with Gene and still am with Ruth, but it's more complicated than you might think. And but if that doesn't work out, I've got another Rambler, a little different year model, and I got my eyes on a couple of other things that I could build if that doesn't work out, because that's not a Willis is not a cheap build. Willis's, even fiberglass cars are expensive, and some of the stuff I can buy, for bodies I can buy for $500 or $600 may end up being what I build just out of a financial situation, So that's what I would love to do. My number one choice for a car would be do a Moonlighter tribute to Gene and represent him the best I could. But I just don't know at this point if it'll ever work out.
Well, I certainly do hope that it does work out. I want to see that. You got my vote, man, for that. And, nobody knows where the funny car is that Gene had and that Dad crewed on. There's been people who've tried. I know my dad talked about finding it, but we don't know where that thing went. And I know without knowing what to build as a replica, I have aspirations of driving eventually, and I would love to pilot an injected nitro funny car, and it looked just like what that Moonlighter funny car did all the way back then with a modern take and wrap and things of that nature. So that would be cool, and I hope you get done what you want to get done, and I hope I can get done what I want to get done, and there'd be both that funny car and that Willis side, and then maybe someone crazy enough to do the Maverick that was in Pro Stock for a while, and we just have it all.
They know where that car is at, I believe. So,
Dad told me that somebody had it. I don't know, and there's probably someone watching that can chime in and be like, "Oh, we know," but that one they do know. It's somewhere.
I think North Carolina, but I'm not sure about that. But I believe they got in contact when they were rebuilding the car the first time. I think they got some parts that had been put on the Maverick that were originally on the Moonlighter. So I think they do know where that's at. So
it's fascinating that there is anybody's able to find any of these old drag cars and know the connections, and not just the Moonlighter, not just anything with Gene Cromer or my dad. It's anybody's old drag car. It's amazing that people. Oh, let's take you out to the barn back here. It's been here for me. Like, why do you have it? It's fascinating stories for sure. But also good to hear you had the plan to do something with a Rambler if that was the case. I know Waterbug85, he chimes in again, and I agree with him that it's cool to hear you race a Rambler. That is cool that you're doing something different. I like that. I like the people attempting something different out there in competition because it doesn't matter whether it is NHRA Pro Stock, NHRA Pro Mod, other door slammer racing, door slammer people, even in Sega to some degree, have this knack of building a lot of the same stuff and it looking similar. So love seeing your themed out car, Scalded Dog, with a beautiful paint job, it being a different body, being a different car, and you competing at the high level that you are. That is cool, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. But yeah, my favorite part of a Pro Mod was when they all ran the old car bodies and you see a Cadillac or a 49 Mercury, or you just didn't know what you were going to see. And
a Lamborghini,
Yeah, a Lamborghini. I mean, you just didn't know anything, and it was so much more interesting then than it is now for that reason and others. But I love that era of Pro Mod was, when they had all those crazy bodies and you just didn't know what you might see at the next race. And instead of all of them looking just alike and being cookie cutter type stuff.
I completely agree. Yeah, Leslie, maybe a rule of no more Chevy 2s out there, or no more 55s, except for like who's already competed. Can't don't need no another chick magnet. I mean, nobody can, no.
Can't stand two of them.
For sure. Tim, a lot of changes, huge changes. I mean, massive changes in Sega. Your thoughts on all the changes and where it has been and where it is going? You have been in this for a while. Your thoughts on the transition?
Well, I have to thank Quayne up front. If he hadn't took the idea and turned it into what it is, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today as a two-time champion. It wouldn't have never existed if he hadn't have done that. So I thank him for that. But on the other hand, I was in the military for a long time, and they changed our leadership on time. I mean, they did it by a schedule just because they knew, after a certain amount of time, you to really progress, you need different leadership, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's going to go to the next level. I hope it does. I do everything I can to help it do that. But I don't know. You just get in your ways, and and you just need a new direction or a new leadership to push it on to that next level. And I hope that's what's going to happen. I think it is. So we love it. We loved it all these years. This is our 6th year, and hopefully we'll do it at least 6 more. So I think it's a good thing.
The chick magnet himself wants us all to know that he is listening. He put an ear emoji. Must be just one ear. Maybe he's deaf in one, or maybe it goes in one and goes out the other, and he can only put in one ear emoji because it only goes in one. That may be possible. I mean, the mouth might be running so much that he doesn't hear anything at all. Oh, you don't have to say anything, Tim. You don't have to say anything. I'll have Leslie on before long, and he can say whatever he wants
to. We'll let him do that.
Right, we'll let him do that. We'll let him do that. But folks, we did have Leslie on a few weeks ago, and you can watch that interview and learn more about where the Southeast Gassers Association is going right here on Monday Morning Racer, the Between the Slicks show. Tim, you mentioned you like where things are going. You even mentioned NHRA Pro Mod. Well, just curious, you're in Sega, which is great. You're champion, which is great. Is there any other aspirations, drag racing or racing wise, for you?
Yeah, I think I said last year that I would love to drive a NHRA Pro Stock car. That would be the ultimate goal if I could, but it's probably highly unlikely at my age and my funding level because those cars, there's a lot of people that can drive them, and it basically comes down to who can bring a good sponsor with them or pay out of their own pocket or whatever. That's who gets to drive them. And So that's highly unlikely that I'll be able to do either one of those things, because I think it's about $1 million a year you have to bring to the table or to be considered as a driver of the thing. And I don't see that happening for me, but it would. That's when you're a little kid and when they asked in school what you want to be and you said a race car driver, that's what I had in mind, was a pro stocker. But it doesn't matter. I've had so much fun doing this. If this is all I ever do is run Sega, it'll be just fine, because it's such a great group of people. It really is a family atmosphere. We get together and it's like having a 3-4 day camping trip. Hanging out with all your friends, and we get to race. Too, as a kicker to that. So I can't complain a bit. I'm a happy fellow.
It is certainly a good time out there. Leslie chimes in and does let everyone know that Agas, Caddy, Buick, Olds, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, anyone want to build, let's talk. So he's up for some things being different out there. Certainly would love to see it. There are some beautiful cars out there in the Southeast Gassers Association competition. Yours stands out as certainly a quality piece that can be rolled out at a car show and perform just as well as it performs on the track. What are some other rides out there in Sega that you personally like, that you would like to shout out that, hey, I like their car, I like their look, I like their theme? Who are some of those people, and what are their rides?
Well, I guess Rob Walden's car to me is one of the coolest ones, just because it's such a pretty little car, but also because he runs the 409, power plant. It's just a really neat little car. But there's a lot of them. I like Gabriel's A model. I'm not a Ford guy, but I do like that it's different. As we were talking about before, and it's a pretty car, well-built car, runs good. But I mean, how can you not like Dean Jonas's or the Happy Days car? Either one of those two Novas are two of the nicest, well-built cars that on the property. And every time I park near Dean, I'm over there inspecting his car, and he shows me things. He takes off panels and lets me look at stuff. He don't care if I see it. And I told him, I said, I'm going to copy it. And he said, I don't care. That's cool. If you want to, that'd be great. Something about the imitation is the greatest form of flattery or something like that. But, there's a lot of really nice cars. You got to love the Double X. I mean, he's different also, building a big old car like that and racing it. So that they're all neat. They really are some neat cars and neat people that we race with, and we have fun together with each other, and we pray for each other when there's needs there, and it's just a great setup. So.
Ernie Smith pleads with you to try B or A gas. He says that you have beat on him long enough.
I think everybody in C-Gas, if they tired of me, ought to take up a collection and help me get to A-Gas then.
There you go. I like that. Hey, put some money where your hopes and aspirations and dreams are of me competing in another class. Put some money up. I like that. And Rocky Platt says Tim Hall might need to drive the Dixie Twister a couple of races this year.
I would love to try that. I think it's a difficult car to drive. Those cars are, because their tire rule. They got a kind of narrow tire and high center of gravity, and they move around a lot. So it would be a challenge to drive, and I'd like to at least try it, maybe in practice sometime. See how it works out. But I'd be glad to if he needed me to. But I just like racing in general. I'd drive pretty much anything, except for Quain's Anglia. I don't think I want to drive that, but. I might do it in practice. We've talked about that too, that he might let me take it down the track one time just to see how evil it is, but I don't want to hurt myself, but I do, like to drive anything that's fast pretty much. We've raced go-karts and boats and pretty much anything that you can imagine racing. Somebody in my family has done it, or I've done it myself. So we just like racing and going fast.
Well, we've got some things rolling in here now. Stephen Smith wants you to know that that is a fine looking black hoodie you have there, Tim.
I knew he was going to say that.
By the way,
I was trying to ask him if he had any other colors, and he only has black right now. And I like black. It is a nice hoodie, and I wear it a good bit, but I was wanting a different color. It's real good on these super cold days, because when that sun shines on the black hoodie, it warms you up, makes you feel good. But on a pretty warm day, it can be the other way around. It can it can be where it gets you a little too warm, but yeah.
And black just fits in with drag racing. It just does. I mean, if you're not wearing black at some point in a drag strip, are you in fact in drag racing at all? I mean, you have to wear black. Granted, I do enjoy that with the old school theme, you find the officials of Southeast Gassers Association wearing white. I don't know how they wore white all the time back in the day. You watch all those old drag racing videos, and everybody's in white, and somehow stayed white, it looked like, or at least the resolution was that bad for the cameras that it just made it appear that they were white by the end of the day.
Yeah, I couldn't wear. I actually bought a pair of white pants, and I think I wore them one time, but I think also I decided to hop under the car and adjust the shocks and, other stuff. And I noticed that probably wasn't the best idea for me to wear white because I'm gonna be in there with whatever needs to get done. I'm gonna do it, and if it calls for laying on the ground and doing it, and that's we're there to race, and preferably to win the race. And whatever I got to do that, that's what's going to happen. So the white pants just don't work too good for me. But I don't know how they did it back in those days, but they did.
I don't know. Stephen, by the way, feel free to put in the comments section a link to where folks can buy the Southeast Gassers Association gear. Feel free to drop that so they can go and do that. I need to get me some swag as well. And Leslie, I tell you, he does trash talking, and he also does trash typing, because what we got here, he says, also, if anyone else sees a green 55 with Night Stalker on the side, tell him there is a black 55 looking for him. Somewhat of a call out. Someone call up Cassandra Porter and get that man out there and come do some Sega racing. We want to see that go down soon enough in qualifying. I'll put some money on that. Somebody call him up.
I've heard that he has a motor getting done at Fulton's, so he can come back and race with us. So I hope that's true. And he's one of the original cars, and it'd be really cool to see him back with the group, and Jimmy Finley and some of those other guys that were big into it a few years back. It'd be great to see them come back and start back racing with us and hanging out with us and having fun with us. And the history of it would be more complete if we can get some of those guys to come back and be with us now. That would be really cool.
It would be. I think that would be cool, and certainly might give Leslie pause with the tongue with such competition out there. Possibly. I don't know. But he had some stiff competition this year. Was not able to pick up the championship in 2023 in AGAS competition. So across the board, competition is so good in Southeast Gassers Association racing. Well, the banquet is coming up. I believe it's not this weekend, but the weekend after this one coming up. I appreciate you extending an invitation, but the girlfriend and I that is current, we've got some plans that we already formulated. I'm going to throw her into the drag racing waters at the Funny Car Chaos banquet coming up. But when the banquet takes place, I don't know how you all do it, but if there is a speech, what is the scalded dog going to say? Give us the Cliff Notes.
Well, I don't know exactly yet. I've been thinking about that and trying to work something up. I know it'll be thanking all the people that helped me, Molly Motorsports and Newton Performance and Troy Lightner and Tim Brown, Roofing Unlimited, and, you know, just folks like that help us. And then there's people that just send, you know, watch a show or something, and they see us on the thing, and I just get checks out of nowhere from folks that just want to help out, which is, to me, is just unbelievable. They don't even want their name on the card. They don't want any recognition. So I don't mention them by name, but what I did is I put something on the card that says Friends of Southeast Gassers. And that's all those folks that, you know, behind the scenes that don't want any kind of recognition, don't, you know, and they just send a check for $100 or $200, or I think $250. I got several this year from different people. One guy from California sent me several checks, you know, for $250 this year, and he just wanted to help us out, and that is really cool to me. And it's, you know, it's so nice, and it helps us so much, and I just appreciate that. And so I know a big part of my speech is going to be thanking all the people that help us. Mom and Daddy, you know, they, as I said before, they buy all the fuel and for the motorhome, and to get us to and from all the races. And, you know, my brother and Dad are the crew, and, you know, we just do everything together. And so thanking them is the biggest part of it, probably, and thanking the Lord, you know, for blessing me like He has, and giving me the abilities to build a car and race it and have a ball doing it. And, you know, without having some sort of ability, you can't do that. And if I have any, it came from Him. So I always want to thank Him. So.
Well, that's going to be a fine speech for sure. Plenty to thank, and thank you for mentioning them right here on the show. So, anything else left that you want to share with all the beloved fans of Monday Morning Racer, Southeast Gassers Association, Tim Hall, and the Scalded Dog? Anything else, Tim, before we let you go?
Well, you know, as I was thanking people, I didn't think to thank you and the other folks that do, you know, media. I appreciate you for having me on the show, and, you know, it helps further the cause, and, you know, gets our situation out there to the public. And, you know, that might be where the people that send me the money got the idea from, is watching your show or other shows like it. And I got an interview Tuesday morning with the local radio station, and, you know, people, you know, you don't think about the impact that y'all shows. And, you know, that radio show that he also has it online. Of course, anybody in the world can hear it nowadays. It's not like just a local list area. But you don't think how much benefit that is to us, to get us, you know, get our name out there, our car out there. You know, the TV deal coming next year, I don't know. We don't know exactly what that's going to look like, but, you know, that's another avenue that'll, you know, give us more exposure, make us more marketable, you know, make companies want to get behind us, because it'll be, I guess, worldwide. I guess that channel will be available all over the world, as far as I know. So, you know, I appreciate that. I thank you for that. Thank my wife for putting up with all this. You know, she's in the house by herself a lot while I'm out in the shop working on stuff, and she handles everything when I'm gone. You know, she holds down the fort, so to speak, while I can take off and run around and do all the stuff that is required to, you know, to be competitive at stuff like this. You know, it's not just show up at the racetrack. And, you know, I don't even run on Friday nights usually, because I'm scared I'll break it on Friday and not get any points on Saturday. So, you know, it's not just show up and race on Saturday. There's a lot of searching eBay, you know, scouring the Facebook marketplace, and then driving to, you know, who knows where. You know, I've been all the way to Indiana and, you know, Missouri and different places, getting blocks and heads and things used that I can afford to buy, and then bringing them back and having to, you know, fix them and make them work. But, you know, Martin Newton at Newton Performance, I said a while ago, I really don't give him as much credit as he deserves. He lets me use his shop, use his machinery, anything I need to do. If I can do it, he lets me do it. If I can't do it, he does it for me, and he doesn't ever charge me anything. And he's a really good friend of mine and a really good sponsor, you know, in doing that kind of stuff that I wouldn't be able to do without him, you know. And so I don't think I mentioned him sufficiently a while ago, so I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate that, Tim. Hey, You know, I'm all over the country these days. If you ever need me to pick something up, you let me know. I can bring it back to South Carolina. It might take me a little longer than you think, but I'll get back there eventually and I can get it to you. So you let me know. And Tim, thank you for your time. Congratulations on another championship. Congratulations on making Southeast Gassers Association history and being one of the first to ever have back-to-back championships. Now go out there and be the first three-peater.
That's what I'm gonna try to do. That's our goal for this year is to, hopefully I'm planning if things work out, it should be my last year in C-Gas. Hopefully we can get the A-Gas deal done, or, maybe if that don't work out, maybe we'll transition, build a new car, and it'll be lighter, and we can just put our engine and transmission we got now in it and go to B, or do something different. But try to go out. If I can do it, it'd be cool, and we can go out with a bang and go to try something else. So that would be a lot of fun. So thank you everybody that helps us, supports us, pulls for us, and anything like that. So,
Tim, thank you. Have a good rest of your night, man.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right, folks, that was Tim Hall, driver of the Scalded Dog in C-Gas competition in the Southeast Gassers Association. He's your 2023 champion. He was also your 2022 champion, and he's looking to be the champion in 2024. You're watching Between the Slicks with your host, Lee Kraft, a.k.a. the Monday Morning Racer. Going to take a break, and right after the break, we're going to dive into drag racing news. We're not going to cover everything because, wow, there is just that much news in drag racing here lately and since the last time I had a Between the Slicks. But there is plenty of news concerning alcohol, which is a big focus for Monday Morning Racer in these days, and Heritage Series, Legends, Nitro Funny Car Series, and beyond. Plus, we just want to hear what you think right now in the world of drag racing. This word, and then we'll look into drag racing news.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
And hot off the presses. Well, not really hot off the presses. Some of this is a bit old, but I do want to bring it up, do want to talk about it. Some of it is older news, but the alcohol news is within the bigger news that probably everyone would have noticed and talked about and not really discussed the alcohol side of matters. So in top alcohol competition in NHRA Lucas Oil Sportsman drag racing, do you recall that there was this big shift in the nitro ranks for Top Fuel and for Funny Car within the NHRA? Implications with Wilkerson Racing and Justin Ashley Racing, the Maynard Racing, Tony Schumacher, Ida Zetterstrom coming over and going to get in a Top Fuel ride along with having Tony Schumacher as a teammate. Well, within that, there was also driver development news for Maynard Racing. Joe Maynard, the younger, if you will, he earned his top alcohol dragster license after the NHRA Nevada Nationals in 2023. In the press release, in the announcement concerning the seismic shift of NHRA teams and Skag Racing being formed and Skag Wilkerson Racing being formed, that rolled in Paul Richards Racing and Justin Ashley and Davis Motorsports Racing along with Wilkerson Racing for that camp, and you have the separation of Maynard Racing with the Top Fuel program. Joe Maynard, the younger, he is going to be competing full-time next year in top alcohol dragster, and the press release mentioned that, yes, aiming for a championship. So We don't just have the Maynards in ownership. We will have the Maynards also in competition out there in the NHRA, going the quickest and the fastest in the quarter mile currently for the Maynard family. Waterbug 85, we will take your question really quick as we will then continue the drag racing news segment, but definitely want to hear from you all on what's going on and what you are thinking. You think Tony Stewart is ready for Top Fuel? Absolutely. Because it's something that he has been doing for a while now, and he's accustomed to it more than he probably wants to give credit to. He's certainly a capable driver. He has been testing a Top Fuel car before he had a full season of the Top Alcohol Dragster competition under his belt, and he has been testing a Top Fuel car even while competing in Top Alcohol Dragster. The last time that I personally saw Tony in the car was in Indianapolis before the U.S. Nationals. He was in the Top Fuel car and testing, and I mean, I think they win a 70. Something, and not 70, not flat, but 70 something at well over 320 miles per hour. I've got the footage of it somewhere buried, and I never put it out. They asked me not to, so I didn't. But yeah, he's been in the car. He knows how to pedal a Top Fuel dragster. I've seen him do that in testing. He's going to be just fine. I just appreciate Tony Stewart is humble in the sense that he respects drag racing and the challenge of driving these cars. Is it going to take him a little while to be fully up to speed from driving an A-Fuel dragster? Yes, I think so. That's anybody. But he is ready to go out there and to compete at a high level. It would not shock me that within the first 5 national events that Tony Stewart is a national event winner in Top Fuel. That would not shock me at all. He's certainly ready. He's certainly ready. The Not Bland Show chimes in. Dujane Bland says, heck yeah, to Waterbug 85. I think he's going to be solid. Sure, he will have to learn how to pedal the car and all, but I believe he is more than capable. And he knows how to do that. And to the pedaling side of matters, I have had conversations with people in the Top Alcohol ranks. They have made remarks. And when I say people, I'm talking about legendary names in the Top Alcohol ranks. They make mention that he is one of the best natural drivers, drag racers that they have ever seen, especially in pedaling. And I have seen it myself, that he is one of the quickest pedalers that I have seen in person watching drag racing. He is going to do just fine. There should be no concern about Tony Stewart being in a Top Fuel car. There might need to be concern of other people entering Top Fuel this season, but certainly that concern should not be on Tony Stewart whatsoever. Continuing now in drag racing news, and in particular with alcohol, Dave W. mentions it, and go ahead and bring up the photo, but Angel Sampey and Tron Brown Motorsports, they have teamed up for 2024 with the Mahalik brothers, Mahalik Racing, and they are going to attempt 14 national events and a handful of regionals to shoot for a world championship at Angel, with Angel holding the wheel of a Top Alcohol dragster in partnership with Mahalik Racing. Corey Mahalik, along with his brother, you may very well know Corey a bit better for React 104 and the great work that he does within drag racing, giving us, I think, NFL film level and beyond productions, giving drag racing a cinematic feel and epicness. He brings that so often to the table in content. But the legend, Angel Sampey, will be out there full time. And the plan is coming together. This is no shock. I was expecting that we would have an AB Motorsports complete fielded scenario, but nonetheless, this is a great partnership. And speaking with Corey at Dallas, the car in which they did run, that car has been retired. We can fully expect that Angel will be stepping into a brand new hot rod. And if I remember correctly, Corey said that it's a Copeland car. And we can expect that she's going to have some new pipe to pilot in 2024, possibly to her first ever NHRA Top Alcohol Dragster World Championship. That's pretty cool. In alcohol, we still continue. Someone that I am so excited to see compete in alcohol is this young lady, and it is good news from the sponsor that sponsored her dad, multi-time world champion, 2023 world champion in Top Alcohol Funny Car, Doug Gordon. His daughter, Maddie Gordon, will have Beta Motorcycles still on that world championship winning hot rod going into 2024 and, from what I understand, beyond. So Maddie Gordon, the young lady, she will be piloting that number one car, though she won't have the number one on it, into the 2024 season. And I was able to witness her earning her license there in Minnesota after the national event, and she drove it like a pro, even down into the 540s in a Top Alcohol Funny Car. It is certainly going to be fun to watch her compete in 2024 for a world championship, holding up the mantle of the family operation with Beta Motorcycles behind her. And she is certainly very quickly going to be a threat out there in Top Alcohol Funny Car competition. And I'm excited to see her in Top Alcohol Funny Car because Top Alcohol Dragster seems to get all the lady love. All right, let's just be frank. They do. You've got Julie Natus out there. You've got, well, you did have Jasmine Salinas. You've got Taylor Vetter. You've got, Kim Parker. You've got Jackie Frick. You've got a lot of great ladies in Top Alcohol Dragster, and not so many ladies in Top Alcohol Funny Car. I think of Christine Foster, and right now, that's what all that comes to mind. Now we're going to have Maddie Gordon. There is another lady competing in Top Alcohol Funny Car, and I just cannot bring her name to the top of my head in this moment on the show between the slicks. But we're going to have another lady competing out there for a world championship in Maddie. You've got a very energetic young lady that is attractive. She comes from the right family. She's got a good sponsor behind her. Certainly something that Top Alcohol Funny Car has been needing, I think. It's going to be fun to see that Gordon and Bellemere rivalry continue, but this time it's Maddie in the cockpit. And dear old dad, Doug, is out there on his rocker chair. No, he's not in the rocking chair. He's not out the pasture. He's still working on the car. But so cool that he has passed on the ride to his daughter, Maddie. Certainly looking forward to her competing out there in competition. Dave W., Annie Whiteley, right. She's out there, and along with her husband, Jim Whiteley. So there's some ladies, but certainly not the lady number as you see out there in Top Alcohol Dragster. So this is cool to see. I'm glad that we're going to see some more ladies battling it out. That is going to be a good thing. Looking forward to it. As we continue in drag racing news, something that I'm not sure it's been getting enough attention. Maybe it's just going to take a little while, but Bob Tasca, Ford, they revealed this hot rod. Solid looking body for the Dark Horse Mustang, the theme, the look. Ford performance. This is pretty slick. Looking forward to seeing this hit the track. And as excited as I am about this look, this one, if you look on the web, you're going to find this image or something similar to it as the thumbnail for the article. And that's a bad looking hot rod. So cool. Looking forward to see it on the track. It looks good. But the not so funny stock-esque version to me is absolutely sexy. Look at that Dark Horse Mustang Factory X NHRA drag car. Whipple Supercharger is providing the photo here. Wow. She is a beaut. Let's just pause and take in. Man, you've got to like Factory X. Factory X is so cool. That Bob Glidden tribute car that is out there, that was the Varsity machine, and they reskinned it, I think, about the Rod Shop car. You've got now Alex Laughlin. That was some other news that was dropped. Alex Laughlin has got his home in NHRA coming into 2024. He will be piloting the Blackbird for Jeff Turk in Factory X competition. Those cars. Thank you, NHRA. Look, the NHRA doesn't get everything right. We all know that. But they are getting something right with Factory X as a class and in NHRA competition. Man, those cars are beautiful. Cannot wait to see full fields out there with Factory X. I think that class is going to continue to steal the hearts of drag racing fans, and in particular NHRA drag racing fans. But I think Factory X is going to be that class that can transition and really grab fans of drag racing elsewhere. Because the Factory X car is a car that I think, if the NHRA uses it right, uses it correctly as a platform, as a marketing platform, if you will, and they kind of give a wink and a nod to some of their competitors to go use those cars elsewhere, I think the Factory X cars could certainly be something to help grow the NHRA. Look at that. Looking forward. Oh, let's see. Scott, what's Scott saying? Oh, by the way, Scott, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that, sir. Scott chimes in and says, I don't know how you all feel, but listening to everyone's podcast gets me fired up for 2024. It's nice to see all the new faces. 2024 is shaping up to be, we said it last year. I think we said it the year before. I think we said the year before that. Can we just say this? Drag racing keeps getting better and better after COVID. COVID, whether we knew it or not, and so many people, NHRA drag racing going to die. Well, they lied. Don't listen to those people. They don't know what they're talking about, because it, frankly, is better than it ever has been. Yes, there I said it. I think we got drag racing that's better than the 80s right now. I think we've got competition that's better than the 70s right now. I think we're well beyond the pioneering days. As great as they are, we got to remember them. But nonetheless, it is moving forward, and we're in a good time in NHRA drag racing. And not just NHRA drag racing. Look at drag racing across the board. Funny Car Chaos, Southeast Gassers Association drag racing, PDRA drag racing, Midwest drag racing series. We've got a new alcohol funny car series firing up in 2024. You've got back of the track movements. You've got no prep movements. You've got, movements with small tire and radial tires and all different tires. And it is just good out there right now. What do you people have to complain about? Man, some positivity out there. Scott, I know you weren't complaining, but Mm. Mm. So I don't have a photo, but I'm sure you all have seen. They are tearing down, or they have torn down, the Wally Parks Tower at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and you have so many people chiming in. One, oh no, are we losing the track? No. Well, it said that in the caption that no, the track's not going away, that they're going to build a new tower. So first, read the caption. How about that? Okay, social media, there's captions. It's a beautiful thing. Read them. And then it just reminds me of the lack of long-term memory and the absolute non-existence of apparently short-term memory of so many people in drag racing, and in particular the drag racing fan. And I don't mean to bash anybody, but when it comes to what they're doing at Indianapolis Raceway Park, it should be no secret. It should not be a shock to anybody out there if you have been a drag racing fan at all. Most people were chiming in, oh, well, why don't you fix the bathrooms? That's part of the plan. Oh, why don't you fix the pits? That's part of the plan. Oh, why don't you? It's part of the plan that was carried in articles, that was described, that was given out, that here is what we're doing from the sale of Atlanta. So there's been money that has been put into the Gainesville Raceway facility. There has been funds directed towards In-N-Out Burger Pomona Drag Strip. And there's been funds that have also been directed to Indianapolis Raceway Park. There is also other money involved, and it's not just the drag strip, because Indianapolis Raceway Park is just that, a raceway park. And there are plans. We may not see everything come to fruition, but there are plans updating the drag strip, such as the tower, such as the amenities, make it a gym for the crown jewel race of a facility. And that also includes possibly bringing back road racing, because there was a road course at that place, and also to repave the oval, which brings a lot of attention and notoriety as well. So just pump the brakes. It is not just a situation of them tearing a tower down. Oh, by the way, and for anybody who's like, oh, that tower, why'd you do that? It's such a that it means it needed to come down. I have been there in that tower many times. It was time. It had seen its best days. Long gone. Long gone. And the biggest drag race in the world, not an exaggeration for that event with the U.S. Nationals, by a NHRA-owned property. We haven't seen renderings yet, but it needs to be the nicest tower. It needs to be the nicest drag racing tower on the planet. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if that's what we're going to get, but that's what it needs to be. And they're also going to put skyboxes, suites on the other side of the tower side of the drag strip, from what I understand, what I read. So a lot is going on. A lot is going on. The Not Blend Show. Yes, people don't read. Folks are headline readers. Will voice their opinion based on a title and never read the article to educate themselves. So true. So true. I think many of you that are watching Between the Slicks or watch a Competition Plus Power Hour, you actually do take the time to read the article, and thank you. But educate out there, please, the ignorant ones. Please, please, please. Please do that. Dave W. is joking. He's joking. He's joking. He feels our same frustration. It's okay. What else do I have for you? Well, very quickly, we're getting towards an hour and a half mark. I do want to remind you on the Monday Morning Racer platform, the license hunter, Lyle Greenberg, the driver of the Cone Hunter Nitro Nostalgia Funny Car, he earned his Big Show Top Fuel license recently, back after the NHRA Nevada Nationals. You can see that behind the scenes view on the Monday Morning Racer platform. Please go do that on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Watch this video. Give it a like. Give it a comment. And share it with some folks of just seeing behind the scenes about earning your Top Fuel license. Very quickly, the Legends Nitro Funny Car Series, Legends Nitro Series, they announced their schedule. I'm going to go over it very quickly. This is ran in conjunction with the Heritage Series and at NHRA national events. They will compete for points at the March meet, the Winter Nationals, the NHRA Arizona Nationals, the Igniter Open that's up there in Boise, the NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals at Bristol, the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals, that one at Bowling Green, the Nightfire Nationals there in Boise, the Summer Nationals, a new race at Woodburn, Oregon, and then again the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals, but at Bakersfield, and then they will wrap up at the NHRA Nevada Nationals. Then the Heritage Series, many of those cars will be competing in the Heritage Series. Their schedule dropped as well. Now, the Heritage Series schedule can get a bit wonky in describing it all because you've got Group 1 and Group 2. You've got Funny Car and Top Fuel, but Top Fuel isn't always where Funny Car is, and Group 1 and Group 2 isn't always where Funny Car and Top Fuel are. It can get a bit confusing. The highlights are this, though. March meet, Heritage Series. The Igniter Open, Heritage Series. The Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals, there at Bowling Green, Kentucky, Heritage Series. The Summer Nationals, Woodburn, Oregon, Heritage Series. And they end the year at the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals at Bakersfield, at Famoso Dragway for the end of their season. And by the way, whoever decided at the NHRA for both events at Bowling Green and Bakersfield to both be called the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals, what were you thinking? Okay, let's go to the comment section before we wrap the show up. Once again, thank you to Tim Hall for coming on and chatting with us about his championship here on the show, his championship in 2023. All right, very quickly, let's go. I agree, Waterbug. Dave W., let's see. Nobody watched an epic drag race and said, boy, the national record sucked because the tower was weak. True. But if you recall, go back to why we even have the facilities we have today. Billy Myers, like, I'm bringing these sponsors and there's nowhere where them to go to use the restroom. That's nice. The premier race should really have, I think, the best of the best facility-wise for showcasing drag racing to the world. And I think as drag racers, sometimes we might overlook things, but when it comes to marketability and the growth of sport and it moving forward, we got to remember these things do matter. And frankly, there's other sports that are well ahead of the curve and realized those things. So let's see. Waterbug 85. Yes, Arizona Wild Horse, which is now back to being Firebird, was done. Keyword was past tense. It's back on the schedule, and everything got worked out great. So good. So good. Dave W. That would be nice. That over the track. So very quickly, Dave W. Dave W. mentions here we need a Dover type Skyview bridge over the track. So Dover International Speedway in Dover, Delaware, has two now, if I remember correctly. It used to just be the one, but there's two bridges where you can cross over. But you can actually watch the race from the bridge. Made the bridge at, the sprint car track. They took it down. May it rest in peace. And the sprint car track there in Pennsylvania with the white walls and long, long straightaways and itty-bitty turns has escaped me. Nonetheless, may it rest in peace. Iconic. No, but do you mean where the crossover bridge is now, or over the track as toward the end? So Dave chimes in and says, yeah, one off turn 2, but the turn 3 bridge has seating facing the backstretch. I don't remember if it was Nazareth or not. Okay, so again, behind the starting, yes, but it would be cool. It would be cool that you were able to stand and watch for the people that want to watch from that. And something I hope they do keep in mind, and they do keep in whatever new tower we have. I love that angle of shooting from the top of the Wally Parks Tower that was. I hope there is a shooting photography viewing platform once again on top of the new tower. Yes, but remember, Firebird has one down track. You can't walk over it during cars. It's well down in the shutdown area. But that would be interesting if you were allowed to do that. And then also there's, when you go to, it's an interesting situation at Topeka, which we don't have to worry about that. I mean, hopefully that changes, but I don't think it is. But the flag stand for the road course, it kind of sticks out there. It's an interesting place to, if you've got access to shoot and do some photography from. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. I'm tired. I need to hit the gym. Got to get back. Got to go work out. Got to go pump some iron. Thank you all for watching. I'm Lee Kraft. This has been Between the Slicks. Tim Hall, 2023 C-Gas champion of Southeast Gassers Association. You all out there, keep the pedal to the metal. And God bless. I'm out.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.